Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Fort Lauderdale is a city in the U.S. state of Florida, 28 miles north of Miami. It is the county seat of Broward County. As of the 2017 census, the city has an estimated population of 180,072. Fort Lauderdale is a principal city of the Miami metropolitan area, which was home to an estimated 6,158,824 people in 2017. The city is a popular tourist destination, with an average year-round temperature of 75.5 degrees Fahrenheit and 3,000 hours of sunshine per year. Greater Fort Lauderdale, encompassing all of Broward County, hosted 12 million visitors in 2012, including 2.8 million international visitors. In 2012, the county collected $43.9 million from the 5% hotel tax it charges, after hotels in the area recorded an occupancy rate for the year of 72.7% and an average daily rate of $114.48. The district has 561 hotels and motels comprising nearly 35,000 rooms. 46 cruise ships sailed from Port Everglades in 2012. Greater Fort Lauderdale has over 4,000 restaurants, 63 golf courses, 12 shopping malls, 16 museums, 132 nightclubs, 278 parkland campsites, and 100 marinas housing 45,000 resident yachts. Fort Lauderdale is named after a series of forts built by the United States during the Second Seminole War. The forts took their name from Major William Lauderdale, younger brother of Lieutenant Colonel James Lauderdale. William Lauderdale was the commander of the detachment of soldiers who built the first fort. However, development of the city did not begin until 50 years after the forts were abandoned at the end of the conflict. 3 forts named Fort Lauderdale were constructed. The first was at the fork of the New River, the second was at Tarpon Bend on the New River between the present-day Coley Hammock and Rio Vista neighborhoods, and the third was near the site of the Bahia Mar Marina. The area in which the city of Fort Lauderdale would later be founded was inhabited for more than 2,000 years by the Tequesta Indians. Contact with Spanish explorers in the 16th century proved disastrous for the Tequesta, as the Europeans unwittingly brought with them diseases, such as smallpox, to which the native populations possessed no resistance. For the Tequesta, disease, coupled with continuing conflict with their Calusa neighbors, contributed greatly to their decline over the next 2 centuries. By 1763, there were only a few Tequesta left in Florida, and most of them were evacuated to Cuba when the Spanish ceded Florida to the British in 1763, under the terms of the Treaty of Paris, which ended the 7 Years' War. Although control of the area changed between Spain, United Kingdom, the United States, and the Confederate States of America, it remained largely undeveloped until the 20th century. The Fort Lauderdale area was known as the New River Settlement before the 20th century. In the 1830s there were approximately 70 settlers living along the New River. William Cooley, the local justice of the peace, was a farmer and wrecker, who traded with the Seminole Indians. On January 6, 1836, while Cooley was leading an attempt to salvage a wrecked ship, a band of Seminoles attacked his farm, killing his wife and children, and the children's tutor. The other farms in the settlement were not attacked, but all the white residents in the area abandoned the settlement, fleeing first to the Cape Florida Lighthouse on Key Biscayne, and then to Key West. The first United States stockade named Fort Lauderdale was built in 1838, and subsequently was a site of fighting during the Second Seminole War. The fort was abandoned in 1842, after the end of the war, and the area remained virtually unpopulated until the 1890s. It was not until Frank Stranahan arrived in the area in 1893 to operate a ferry across the New River, and the Florida East Coast Railroad's completion of a route through the area in 1896, that any organized development began. The city was incorporated in 1911, and in 1915 was designated the county seat of newly formed Broward County. Fort Lauderdale's first major development began in the 1920s, during the Florida land boom. The 1926 Miami hurricane and the Great Depression of the 1930s caused a great deal of economic dislocation. In July 1935, an African-American man named Reuben Stacy was accused of robbing a white woman at knife point. He was arrested and being transported to a Miami jail when police were run off the road by a mob. A group of 100 white men proceeded to hang Stacy from a tree near the scene of his alleged robbery. His body was riddled with some 20 bullets. The murder was subsequently used by the press in Nazi Germany to discredit U.S. critiques of its own persecution of Jews, communists, and Catholics. When World War II began, Fort Lauderdale became a major U.S. base, with a naval air station to train pilots, radar operators, and fire control operators. A Coast Guard base at Port Everglades was also established. On July 4, 1961, African Americans started a series of protests, wait-ins, at beaches that were off-limits to them, to protest the failure of the county to build a road to the Negro Beach. On July 11, 1962, a verdict by Ted Cabot went against the city's policy of racial segregation of public beaches. Today, Fort Lauderdale is a major yachting center, one of the nation's largest tourist destinations, and the center of a metropolitan division with 1.8 million people. After the war ended, service members returned to the area, spurring an enormous population explosion which dwarfed the 1920s boom. The 1960 census counted 83,648 people in the city, about 230% of the 1950 figure. A 1967 report estimated that the city was approximately 85% developed, and the 1970 population figure was 139,590. After 1970, as Fort Lauderdale became essentially built out, growth in the area shifted to suburbs to the west. As cities such as Coral Springs, Miramar, and Pembroke Pines experienced explosive growth, Fort Lauderdale's population stagnated, and the city actually shrank by almost 4,000 people between 1980, when the city had 153,279 people, and 1990, when the population was 149,377. A slight rebound brought the population back up to 152,397 at the 2000 census. Since 2000, Fort Lauderdale has gained slightly over 18,000 residents through annexation of 7 neighborhoods in unincorporated Broward County. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city has a total area of 38.6 square miles, 34.7 square miles of which is land and 3.8 square miles of which is water. Fort Lauderdale is known for its extensive network of canals. There are 165 miles of waterways within the city limits. The city of Fort Lauderdale is adjacent to the Atlantic Ocean, includes 7 miles of beaches, and borders the following municipalities: on its east, on its south, on its southwest, on its west, on its northwest, on its north. The northwestern section of Fort Lauderdale is separate from the remainder of the city, connected only by the Cypress Creek Canal as it flows under I-95. This section of Fort Lauderdale borders the cities of Tamarack and Oakland Park on its south side. Oakland Park also borders Fort Lauderdale on the west side of its northeastern portion. The greater portion of Fort Lauderdale in the south is bordered, along its north side, by Wilton Manors. Off the coast of Fort Lauderdale is the Osborne Reef, an artificial reef made of discarded tires that has proven to be an ecological disaster. The dumping began in the 1960s, with the intent to provide habitat for fish while disposing of trash from the land. However, in the rugged and corrosive environment of the ocean, nylon straps used to secure the tires wore out, cables rusted, and tires broke free. The tires posed a particular threat after breaking free from their restraints. The tires then migrated shoreward and ran into a living reef tract, washed up on its slope and killed many things in their path. In recent years, thousands of tires have also washed up on nearby beaches, especially during hurricanes. Local authorities are now working to remove the 700,000 tires, in cooperation with the U.S. Army, Navy, and Coast Guard. Fort Lauderdale has an official program for designating and recognizing neighborhoods. Under the Neighborhood Organization Recognition Program, more than 60 distinct neighborhoods have received official recognition from the city. An additional 25 to 30 neighborhoods exist without official recognition, although the city's neighborhood map displays them as well. According to the Köppen climate classification, Fort Lauderdale has a tropical rainforest climate. While the city does not have a true dry season, much of the seasonal rainfall comes between May and October. Winters are frequently dry and sunny, and drought can be a concern in some years. The wet season runs from May through October, and weather is typically hot, humid, and wet with average high temperatures of 86 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit and lows of 71 to 76 degrees Fahrenheit. During this period, more than half of summer days may bring brief afternoon or evening thunderstorms with lightning and bursts of intense rainfall. The record high temperature of 100 degrees Fahrenheit was recorded on June 22, 2009. The dry season often arrives sometime in November and lasts through early to mid-April. Sensible weather is often warm, dry, and sunny. Average high temperatures of 75 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit and lows of 57 to 64 degrees Fahrenheit are typical in the dry season. On rare occasion, cool fronts may make it all the way south to Fort Lauderdale, and the city will see a day or two of highs in the 60s degree Fahrenheit and lows in the 40s degree Fahrenheit. Rare frosts occur every few decades, and only once in reported history have snow flurries been reported in the air, on January 19, 1977. During the dry season, brush fires can be a concern in many years. Annual average precipitation is 64.2 inches, with most of it occurring during the wet season from May through October. However, rainfall occurs in all months, even during the drier months from November through April. Fort Lauderdale has an average of 143 rain days and 250 sunshine days annually. The hurricane season is between June 1 and November 30, with major hurricanes most likely to affect the city or state in September and October. The most recent storms to directly affect the city were Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Wilma, both of which struck the city in 2005. Other direct hits were Hurricane Cleo in 1964, Hurricane King in 1950, and the 1947 Fort Lauderdale hurricane. As of 2010, those of Hispanic or Latino ancestry accounted for 13.7% of Fort Lauderdale's population. Out of the 13.7%, 2.5% were Cuban, 2.3% Puerto Rican, 1.7% Mexican, 1.1% Colombian, 0.9% Guatemalan, 0.8% Salvadoran, 0.6% Honduran, and 0.6% were Peruvian. As of 2010, those of African ancestry accounted for 31.0% of Fort Lauderdale's population, which includes African Americans. Out of the 31.0%, 10.0% were West Indian or Afro-Caribbean American, 0.6% were Black Hispanics, and 0.5% were Sub-Saharan African. As of 2010, those of European ancestry accounted for 52.5% of Fort Lauderdale's population. Out of the 52.5%, 10.3% were Irish, 10.1% German, 8.1% Italian, 7.1% English, 3.0% Polish, 2.1% French, 1.9% Russian, 1.7% Scottish, 1.2% Scotch-Irish, 1.0% Dutch, 1.0% Swedish, 0.6% Greek, 0.6% Hungarian, 0.5% Norwegian, and 0.5% were French-Canadian. As of 2010, those of Asian ancestry accounted for 1.5% of Fort Lauderdale's population. Out of the 1.5%, 0.4% were Indian, 0.3% Filipino, 0.3% other Asian, 0.2% Chinese, 0.1% Vietnamese, 0.1% Japanese, and 0.1% were Korean. In 2010, 7.1% of the population considered themselves to be of only American ancestry. As of 2010, 0.6% were of Arab ancestry. As of 2010, there were 74,786 occupied households, while 19.7% were vacant. 17.7% had children under the age of 18 living with them, 30.4% were married couples living together, 12.3% have a female head of household with no husband present, and 52.4% were non-families. 39.4% of all households were made up of individuals and 11.1% had someone living alone who was 65 years of age or older. The average household size was 2.17 and the average family size was 3.00. In 2010, the city population was spread out with 17.6% under the age of 18, 8.1% from 18 to 24, 28.4% from 25 to 44, 30.6% from 45 to 64, and 15.3% who were 65 years of age or older. The median age was 42.2 years. For every 100 females, there were 111.8 males. For every 100 females age 18 and over, there were 113.1 males. As of 2010, the median income for a household in the city was $49,818, and the median income for a family was $59,238. Males had a median income of $46,706 versus $37,324 for females. The per capita income for the city was $35,828. About 13.1% of families and 18.2% of the population were below the poverty line, including 30.3% of those under age 18 and 12.5% of those aged 65 or over. In 2010, 21.3% of the city's population was foreign-born. Of foreign-born residents, 69.6% were born in Latin America and 15.3% were born in Europe, with smaller percentages from North America, Africa, Asia, and Oceania. In 2000, Fort Lauderdale had the 26th highest percentage of Haitian residents in the U.S., at 6.9% of the city's population, and the 127th highest percentage of Cuban residents, at 1.7% of the city's residents. Like South Florida in general, Fort Lauderdale has many residents who can speak languages other than English, although its proportion is lower than the county average. As of 2000, 75.63% of the population spoke only English at home, while 24.37% spoke other first languages. Speakers of Spanish were 9.43%, French Creole 7.52%, French 2.04%, Portuguese 1.02%, Italian 0.82%, and German at 0.80%. The city, along with adjacent small cities Oakland Park and Wilton Manors, is known for its large LGBT community and has one of the highest ratios of gay men and lesbians, with gay men being more largely present in the United States. The city is also known as a popular vacation spot for gays and lesbians, with many LGBT or LGBT-friendly hotels and guesthouses. Fort Lauderdale hosts the Stonewall Library and Archives, and in neighboring Wilton Manors there is a large LGBT community center, the Pride Center, and the World AIDS Museum and Educational Center. The current mayor of Fort Lauderdale, Dean Trentalis, is the first openly gay person to hold this office. Fort Lauderdale's economy has diversified over time. From the 1940s through the 1980s, the city was known as a spring break destination for college students. However, the college crowd has since dwindled, with the city now attracting wealthier tourists. Cruise ships and nautical recreation provide the basis for much of the revenue raised by tourism. There is a convention center located west of the beach and southeast of downtown, with 600,000 square feet of space, including a 200,000 square foot main exhibit hall. Approximately 30% of the city's 10 million annual visitors attend conventions at the center. The downtown area, especially around Los Olas Boulevard, first underwent redevelopment starting in 2002 and now hosts many new hotels and high-rise condominium developments. The city's central business district is the largest downtown in Broward County, although there are other cities in the county with commercial centers. Office buildings and high-rises include Las Olas River House, Las Olas Grand, 110 Tower, Bank of America Plaza, One Financial Plaza, Broward Financial Center, 1 East Broward Boulevard, Barnett Bank Plaza, PNC Center, New River Center, 1 Corporate Center, SunTrust Center, 101 Tower, and South Trust Tower. The Fort Lauderdale metropolitan area foreclosures increased 127.4% from 2006 to 2007, or one filing per 48 households in the quarter. Fort Lauderdale ranks 4th in the list of top 10 metropolitan areas ranked by foreclosure filings per household for the third quarter of 2007. Fort Lauderdale is a major manufacturing and maintenance center for yachts. The boating industry is responsible for over 109,000 jobs in the county. With its many canals, and proximity to the Bahamas and Caribbean, it is also a popular yachting vacation stop, and home port for 42,000 boats, and approximately 100 marinas and boatyards. Additionally, the annual Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, the world's largest boat show, brings over 125,000 people to the city each year. Companies based in the Fort Lauderdale area include AutoNation, Citrix Systems, Comcare Pharmacy, DHL Express, Spirit Airlines, and National Beverage Corporation. The largest employers in the county are Tenet Healthcare, which employs 5,000 people, American Express, which employs 4,200, First Service Residential, which employs 3,900, Motorola, which employs 3,000, and Maxim Integrated Products, which employs 2,000. Gulfstream International Airlines, a commuter airline, is headquartered in nearby Dania Beach. Fort Lauderdale was recently listed as 2017's third best city out of 150 U.S. cities by Wallet Hub for summer jobs, and the 24th best city to start a career in. Fort Lauderdale has a commission-manager form of government. City policy is set by a city commission of 5 elected members, the mayor and 4 district commission members. In 1998, the municipal code was amended to limit the mayoral term. The mayor of Fort Lauderdale now serves a 3-year term and cannot serve more than 3 consecutive terms. The current mayor is Dean Trentalis, who succeeded Jack Seiler in 2018. The longest-serving mayor is Jim Noggle, who served from 1991 to 2009. Administrative functions are performed by a city manager, who is appointed by the city commission. Fort Lauderdale Fire Rescue Department provides fire and emergency medical services. The United States Postal Service operates post offices in Fort Lauderdale. The Fort Lauderdale main post office is located at 1900 West Oakland Park Boulevard in the city of Oakland Park. Post offices within the city limits include Alridge, Coley, Coral Ridge, Gateway Station, Melrose Vista, and Southside Station. According to 2000 census data, 79.0% of the city's population aged 25 or older were high school graduates, slightly below the national figure of 80.4%. 27.9% held at least a baccalaureate, slightly higher than the national figure of 24.4%. Broward County Public Schools operates 23 public schools in Fort Lauderdale. 2007 Florida Comprehensive Assessment Test results for Fort Lauderdale's public schools were mixed. While 10 elementary schools and 1 middle schools received A or B grades, Sunland Park Elementary School and Arthur Ashe Middle School received failing grades. Boyd Anderson High School, which is located in Lauderdale Lakes but whose attendance zone includes part of Fort Lauderdale, also received a failing grade. None of the 3 failing schools have failed twice in a 4-year period, thus triggering the Opportunity Scholarship Program school choice provisions of the Florida's Education Plan. 10 institutions of higher learning have main or satellite campuses in the city. Additionally, the Davenport, Iowa-based Kaplan University's corporate headquarters and an academic support center are located in the city. Local bus transportation is provided by Broward County Transit, the county bus system. BCT provides for connections with the bus systems in other parts of the metropolitan area, Metro Bus in Dade County and PalmTran in Palm Beach County. Tri-Rail, a commuter rail system, connects the major cities and airports of South Florida. In November 2006, Broward County voters rejected a 1 cent per hundred sales tax increase intended to fund transportation projects such as light rail and expansion of the bus system. 4 railroads serve Fort Lauderdale. Florida East Coast Railroad and CSX Transportation are freight lines. Amtrak provides passenger service to other cities on the Atlantic coast via the Fort Lauderdale station, and Tri-Rail provides commuter service between Palm Beach County, Broward County, and Miami-Dade County. All Aboard Florida built a new station in downtown Fort Lauderdale for its Brightline rail service connecting Miami and Orlando, Florida. The Wave, a new 2.7-mile electric streetcar system costing $125 million, is being planned for the downtown. Most of the construction funding will come from federal, state and city taxpayers, with approximately $15 million from assessments on properties located within the Downtown Development Authority. Broward County has committed to operating the system for the first 10 years at an expected annual cost of $2 million, and has guaranteed funding to cover any shortfall in ridership revenues. The construction cost of $50 million per mile is considerably higher than other recently built streetcar projects, in part due to the challenges of building an electric transit system over the 3rd Avenue drawbridge. Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport, near Dania Beach, Florida, is the city's main airport and is the fastest-growing major airport in the country. This is, in part, attributable to service by low-cost carriers such as Spirit Airlines, JetBlue Airways, Southwest Airlines, and Silver Airways, resulting in lower airfares than nearby Miami International Airport. Fort Lauderdale Hollywood is an emerging international gateway for the Caribbean and Latin America. Miami International Airport and Palm Beach International Airport also serve the city. Fort Lauderdale is home to Port Everglades, the nation's 3rd busiest cruise port. It is Florida's deepest port, and is an integral petroleum receiving point. Fort Lauderdale is served by a regular international passenger ferry service to Freeport, Grand Bahama Island, Bahamas operated by Balearia Bahamas Express. Broward County is served by 3 major interstate highways and U.S. highways such as US 1, US 27 and US 441. The interchange between I-95 and I-595, SR 862 is known as the Rainbow Interchange. It is also served by Florida's Turnpike and State Highway 869, also known as the Sawgrass Expressway. Fort Lauderdale is served by Broward General Medical Center and Imperial Point Medical Center, which are operated by Broward Health, the third largest hospital consortium in the United States. Broward General is a 716-bed acute care facility which is designated as a Level I trauma center. It is also home to Chris Evert Children's Hospital and a heart center of excellence. The hospital serves as a major training site for medical students from Nova Southeastern University's College of Osteopathic Medicine, as well as nursing and paramedic programs from throughout the area. Imperial Point Medical Center is a 204-bed facility with a hyperbaric medicine program. Holy Cross Hospital, a 571-bed hospital operated by the Sisters of Mercy, was named by Health Grades as one of the 50 best hospitals in the country for 2007. Fort Lauderdale is served by English-language newspapers South Florida Sun-Sentinel and the Miami Herald, Spanish-language newspapers El Sentinel, El Nuevo Herald and an alternative newspaper New Times Broward Palm Beach. As is true of many parts of Florida, the city's population has a strong seasonal variation, as snowbirds from the northern United States, Canada, and Europe spend the winter and early spring in Florida. The city is known for its beaches, bars, nightclubs, and history as a spring break location, back in the 1960s and 1970s, for tens of thousands of college students. However, the city has actively discouraged college students from visiting the area since the mid-1980s, passing strict laws aimed at preventing the mayhem that occurred in the 1970s and 1980s. The city had an estimated 350,000 college visitors for spring break 1985. By 1989, that number had declined to about 20,000. Since the 1990s, Fort Lauderdale has increasingly become a location that caters to those seeking the resort lifestyle seasonally or year-round and is often a host city to many professional venues, concerts, and art shows. Fort Lauderdale's Arts and Entertainment District, otherwise known as the Riverwalk Arts and Entertainment District, runs east-west along Los Olas Boulevard, from the beach to the heart of downtown. The district is anchored in the west by the Broward Center for the Performing Arts, and runs through the city to the intersection of Los Olas and A1A. This intersection is the ground zero of Fort Lauderdale Beach, and is the site of the Elbow Room Bar featured in the 1960 film Where the Boys Are, which led in large measure to the city's former reputation as a spring break mecca. The city and its suburbs host over 4,100 restaurants and over 120 nightclubs, many of them in the Arts and Entertainment District. The city is also the setting for the 1986 movie Flight of the Navigator, and host of Lingerado, an annual music festival. In 2013, the county welcomed about 1.3 million LGBT travelers who spent about $1.5 billion in area restaurants, hotels, attractions and shops, according to the Greater Fort Lauderdale Convention and Visitors Bureau. Lockhart Stadium in Fort Lauderdale was the home of the Fort Lauderdale Strikers, which played in the most recent incarnation of the North American Soccer League. It was previously the home of the original Fort Lauderdale Strikers, which played in the previous version of the North American Soccer League. The Miami Fusion of Major League Soccer played home games at this stadium from 1998 to 2001. The Florida Atlantic University Owls football team played its home games at Lockhart Stadium from 2003 through 2010. Although Fort Lauderdale does not host any top-division professional sports teams, the Florida Panthers of the National Hockey League play at BB&T Center in suburban Sunrise. Major League Baseball's Miami Marlins, the National Football League's Miami Dolphins and the Miami Heat of the National Basketball Association all play in neighboring Dade County. The New York Yankees, Baltimore Orioles, and Kansas City Royals used to conduct spring training in the city at Fort Lauderdale Stadium, and NCAA Division I college sports teams of Florida International University and University of Miami play in Dade County. Florida Atlantic University's athletic programs are located in neighboring Palm Beach County. Fort Lauderdale is also home to the Fort Lauderdale Aquatic Complex, which is located at the International Swimming Hall of Fame. It contains two 25-yard by 50-meter competition pools, as well as one 20 by 25-yard diving well. The complex is open to Fort Lauderdale residents, and has also been used in many different national and international competitions since its opening in 1965. 10 world records have been set there, from Katie Ball's 100 meters breaststroke in 1966 to Michael Phelps' 400 meters individual medley in 2002. Complex City Gaming's Dota 2 squad is currently based in Fort Lauderdale. The International Swimming Hall of Fame is located on Fort Lauderdale Beach, and houses a large aquatic complex as well as a museum, theater, and research library. Hugh Taylor Birch State Park is a 180-acre park along the beach, with nature trails, camping and picnicking areas, canoeing, and features the Terramar Visitor Center, with exhibits about the ecosystem of the park. Hugh Taylor Birch came to Florida in 1893. He purchased oceanfront property for about $1 per acre. He eventually owned a 3.5-mile stretch of beachfront. The Bonnet House is a historic home in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, United States. Bonnet House's modern history began when Birch gave the Bonnet House property as a wedding gift to his daughter Helen and her husband, Chicago artist Frederick Clay Bartlett, in 1919. The site was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1984 and declared a historic landmark by the city of Fort Lauderdale in 2002. Henry E. Kinney Tunnel on U.S. Route 1 is the only tunnel on a state road in the state of Florida. It was constructed in 1960, and its 864-foot length travels underneath the New River in Los Olas Boulevard. The Florida Everglades is a popular site of interest among visitors to Fort Lauderdale, although the city is roughly 50 miles away from the nearest border of the Everglades. Despite the distance, some services are available to bring visitors from Fort Lauderdale Beach to the Everglades. Just minutes from the beach is the Riverwalk Arts and Entertainment District in downtown Fort Lauderdale, home to cultural attractions, shops, parks and restaurants. Along Riverwalk, the Brickline Meandering Promenade, discover the Broward Center for the Performing Arts, Museum of Discovery and Science with its Auto Nation 3D IMAX Theater, Florida Grand Opera, Fort Lauderdale Historical Center, Stranahan House and the Museum of Art. Los Olas Boulevard is a popular thoroughfare in downtown Fort Lauderdale that runs from Andrews Avenue in the Central Business District to A1A in Fort Lauderdale Beach. The boulevard is a popular attraction for locals and visitors, being ideally situated close to Fort Lauderdale Beach, Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport and Port Everglades. It is considered to be South Florida's most architecturally unique, authentic, and eclectic shopping and dining district. In addition to its museums, beaches, and nightlife, Fort Lauderdale is home to the Fort Lauderdale Swap Shop, a large indoor/outdoor flea market and the site of the world's largest drive-in movie theater, with 13 screens. North Woodlawn Cemetery, an African-American cemetery located east of Interstate 95 near Sunrise Boulevard, was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 2017. Calvary Chapel Fort Lauderdale is an evangelical megachurch in Fort Lauderdale. The following are images of some of the remaining historical structures in Fort Lauderdale. Some are listed in the National Register of Historic Places. The Bonnet House was built in 1895 and is located at 900 Birch Road. In 1919, the owner, Hugh Taylor Birch, gave the property to his daughter Helen and artist Frederick Clay Bartlett as a wedding gift. The property was listed in the National Register of Historic Places on July 5, 1984, reference number 84,832. Entrance of the Bonnet House. The Dr. Wood Van Orsdale King House was built in 1951 and is located at 1336 Seabreeze Boulevard. In February 21, 2006, it was listed in the National Register of Historic Places, reference number 0600059. The Stranahan House was built in 1901 and is located at 335 Southeast 6th. The lower floor of the house once served as a trading post and the upper floor as a community hall. The house also served as a general store and a bank. The owner of the house, Frank Stranahan, committed suicide by drowning in the New River in front of his home. The house was listed in the National Register of Historic Places on October 2, 1973, reference number 73,569. The Benjamin Bugsy Siegel House located in Fort Lauderdale, Florida along the riverside of New River. This was the residence of the infamous mobster known as Bugsy Siegel. The Hyatt Regency Hotel was built in 1957 and is located 2301 SE 17th Street. The hotel was designed by Richard F. Humble, a follower of Frank Lloyd Wright. By Richard F. Humble, a follower of Frank Lloyd Wright. By Richard F. Humble, a follower of Frank Lloyd Wright. By Richard F. Humble, a follower of Frank Lloyd Wright. By Richard F. Humble, a